All right, speaking about this recruiting class, and that's what's been dominating the discussion here throughout the first hour. Walker Howard, who is a great friend of our show, just finished up his senior season, 5-star quarterback, number 1 quarterback in the country, Elite 11, down at St. Thomas More. Signed his letter of intent yesterday, finally becoming an official LSU Tiger. One of the things you love to see is the quarterback in the class has his letter of intent was the first to be faxed over to LSU yesterday morning. I believe it opened up at 7 o'clock. At 7:12 yesterday morning, Walker Howard has his letter of intent in.
12 minutes to figure out the fax machine.
Probably so. What the hell is this thing?
Dad!
Is that what y'all do? Jamie, do y'all fax? Is that still a thing?
No, it was actually my fault. It was supposed to be 7:04. I didn't know. I didn't realize I had to document.
Dad.
Good morning to Jamie Howard. Walker's dad is here joining us on the Jordy Collada Show. All right, the morning after this stuff is over, man. What was this experience like? How long has this experience been? Has this been 4 years, 3 years that it came to an end?
It's been like 3 years. Yeah, it's been a long time.
What was that experience like?
Well, it was exciting, stressful. It's been a little bit of everything, especially with the coaches changing, and other coaches going other places. I mean, it got pretty stressful in the end.
What was your?
It was an overall great process, though.
Yeah. What was your impressions of Brian Kelly the first time you met him? I'd imagine you met him for the first time when he was Notre Dame's head coach, and then come to find out that he was going to coach Walker at LSU. What was that feeling like? What did you learn in that process?
Surprisingly, much more personable than I thought. And then when you talk to him, you definitely feel like you believe everything he says, and you believe in his plan and his process. Reminded me a lot of Nick, but probably a little bit more personable and joking than Nick does.
Mm-hmm. What do you see in his offense? What stood out in his offense and watching his Notre Dame's teams play, and what he is selling Walker on the vision of what the next couple of years could look like?
Well, I think for his offense at Notre Dame, I mean, they always establish a run, which is really, really good for a quarterback if you can do that. Really good offensive line play and tight end play. And I think what's interesting for him here is he's going to have access to speed he's never had before. So it's going to be interesting to see how he incorporates that into his offense.
What were you looking for when you first set out, before he even committed to LSU? What was kind of the vision of what you and Walker were kind of saying, hey, look, these are the boxes that kind of need to be checked of the schools that we want to give interest to?
Well, he committed so early and he wanted to so soon. We really never got to that point. But, I always wanted him to kind of create his own path and do his own thing. But he was dead set on LSU, which at first I wasn't for. But I'm really excited about it now because he's only going to be 45 minutes an hour away. Mm-hmm. But really, for me, I think the best thing he can look at is who are the guys he's going to be in the locker room with, because those are the guys you're going to know forever, and those will be your best friends from here on out. And man, I really believe just jumping forward this class, they're really tight. Like they're some really good guys, and they are become really close with each other.
How did NIL come into discussion? How do you view NIL for your son, and what do you think NIL's impact will be on college football?
Oh man, that's a great question. I'm not sure how it's going to impact Walker. We're not going to go crazy with that if that is something that comes around. But I think once it dies down after another year, I think it's going to probably be a little more controlled and probably good for college football. I mean, it's being used right now as a way to pay players to go to places at other schools, which is a little scary. But let's be real. I don't know that anyone would think that it wasn't being done under the table before at some of these places. So now it might just be above the table.
Right. Did
I guess the guys that are paying now can write it off. I guess that's the difference.
I know Walker obviously
doesn't have to be cash anymore.
It's out in the open.
Yeah,
it's out in the open. I know Walker committed early, obviously, but during this last month or whatever, have other schools made a serious push with some of these NIL deals to y'all?
Yeah, I mean it's always mentioned, but you have to get pretty serious with them and really consider it for it to get I guess, to that level. Florida was probably the closest. I'm not talking about NIL, but it was mentioned, but more of what we, kind of because of Billy Napier, who we think the world of, going there. That made it tough. But so I never really entertained the NIL thing as a discussion of the school.
What was the time period like between Ogeron and Kelly for somebody that's committed to the class?
What was the question?
What was the time period between Ogeron and Kelly like for somebody that was committed to the class? What was that point in time like for a lot of instability, right? Yeah.
So scary, yeah. Well, I was really worried, and I was totally against not signing him until we knew that offensive coordinator was. But once we sat down with Coach Kelly, he made it very clear that he sits in the quarterback room for every meeting. It's going to be his offense no matter who it is. And he told us that we're going to be very happy with who he hires. And it sounded like it was already done, but he didn't want to announce it.
Wow.
So, you just have to trust him. And that's one guy, I really didn't think I want to do it, but every time we sat with him, I trusted him more and more.
Jamie, what's your point of view of SEC football now? You played it, and to what it is, the monster that it is becoming. And while Walker is there, it'll really kind of hit the, Texas and Oklahoma will be added into the conference. What is your point of view of SEC football in 2021 compared to 1995 when you played?
Well, I think now if you want to compete against the best, that's where you have to be. Back then when I was playing, we had to be at other schools, Big Ten. They were very competitive and almost as good as the SEC. Now it's like, as a coach, if you want to easy path to if you don't have the 12-team playoff now, if you want an easy path, don't go to SEC. If you want, as a player, if you want to compete against the best and go at it, go to SEC. If you want an easy path to get an all conference and another conference, go somewhere else. So SEC is just so dominant now, and it's going to continue to be.
What is your outlook of this wide receiving core that he's stepping in to play with? I think this freshman wide receiving class was probably the most dynamic in the country when you look at it from a whole. And then you obviously, him and Jack Besh probably had the best quarterback wide receiver combination in the state over the last decade. What do you look at this wide receiver room like? They add Landon Ibieta in the class yesterday.
Right, and hopefully, I'm excited about that. I think he can do a lot of things with that class, with those group of receivers. Especially with his offense. I don't think he's never coached a group like that. So I think he's excited. But man, we got one kid we got to try to get. I think is Kendrick Law.
Yeah.
I'm got my fingers crossed on that one because he's a class changer. He's a first class kid, parent, athlete, student. He's just exactly what you want in that locker room. So hopefully we can pull that out.
What position do you think he would play?
I think he can play anything he wants.
Yeah. He
really
can.
That's a fun spot. That's a fun position. He's a football player.
Jamie, how good can Jack Besh be? How good is Jack Besh?
Well, Jack Besh is incredible. It's a joke they put him at tight end. I still understand why they label him as tight end to start with. But Jack Besh, people don't realize, Jack Besh is a guy you put on the outside, close to goal line, he's going to be your best 50-50 ball guy. I think Coach Kelly's he calls him a W position, is what he mentioned, where you can put him anywhere. So it's kind of like, close to goal line on the outside, slot, middle of the field. Jack's really one you can put anywhere. He's the same way as far as a receiver.
It's got to be cool for you and Ben Bordelon to be going through this process together. Yeah. So Bo Bordelon is a signee, an offensive lineman down at Newman. Ben was he was your center. You guys had
it was tackle.
I'm sorry, tackle. Was on the offensive line when you played, and now you guys are best friends, and they're going through the process. How cool is that dynamic of friends and kids and all of going to LSU?
It's Ben told me yesterday. He just said, "Man, can you believe this really happened?" I was like, "Man, I really can. It's incredible." And I know Jimmy, his wife, is so excited about it too, and the boys love each other. Like I said, it's just they've been hanging out since they were born. So it's such a cool thing to see, and we're going to have a great time for the next 4 to 5 years.
You obviously support him enrolling early, and what are the benefits of that?
Man, you guys know Walker a little bit. He just loves to compete, so I don't know how he would have sat here. And watch spring ball go by without being over there and trying to compete. He's so ready to go right now. He told me yesterday, "Why can't I practice for the ball game?" I said, "I don't know." But he's not healed yet either, so that's the other issue.
I was going to ask you on his health. How is his health?
It's getting better. It's just a time thing. I think by late middle January, he'll be fine.
Is he? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Is he in Baton Rouge right now? Is he like? I mean, I think is SDM done with their first? Like, is he graduated? Yeah, is he done?
Yeah, he graduated. He might be there in Baton Rouge today. Who knows?
But is he? I guess my question is, has he moved?
He's living a good life right now.
He's not awake right now.
He's living that good life.
Oh, he's just hanging out with Jack.
Yeah.
All right.
What do you know about? What do you know about Mason Taylor, tight end?
Wow, man, that kid's only 17. When I saw him for the first time, wow, man, he's a good-looking kid. Incredible kid again, another high-character kid. Major upside. He's gonna be. He reminded me of when I saw him at first. I was like, oh my God, he reminds me of Jake Johnson. So I felt really good if we got him. We weren't missing much from between he and Jake. So I mean, I think he's such a great pickup, and his family's great too.
Did Besh and Walker dupe you like they did the rest of the college football world when they followed Lincoln Riley on Twitter? Did you think that was any smoke to him coming to LSU?
I did. I think everyone thought it. I'm not giving Jack R. Walker any credit for that because they don't deserve it. But because I know that little thing that Jack schemed up and Walker says it was just Jack, but I don't know if that's true.
It could have been Walker the whole time, and he'd blame it on Jack.
Wow.
Who knows, man?
I feel like those two have been in the middle of the shit since they were 5 years old.
They have.
You can just tell, bro. You can just tell.
It's the little smirks they have. You can tell they're up to no good. But no, I mean, I think that's the funniest thing. I mean, because they both have the same agent between Brian and Lincoln. Their agent was so brilliant in leaking that.
Mm-hmm.
So all the questions were directed at Lincoln about LSU, and never about USC, so that was a perfect fit. I mean, the agent Trace Armstrong, he crushed it for him.
Yeah, it feels like Sexton and Armstrong really run college football. I mean,
there's no question about it.
It really does. Thank you as always for your insight. I know you hate doing this stuff. Thanks for the information this morning. I can't wait to start seeing you more around Baton Rouge with Walker here. Thanks, man.
All right, guys. Thank y'all.
See you. There's Jamie Howard checking in this morning from Lafayette.